Hello, amigos, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy here in Miami, Florida. Buenos dias, amigos. Good morning, good day to all, or good evening, whatever time you guys are listening to this episode of Inside the Ropes. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the fight between El Divino Espinosa, Rafael El Divino Espinosa versus Robeisy Ramirez. All right. A fight that a lot of people were favoring the former champion Robeisy Ramirez, El Tren, or the Train, how they call him. That's his fight name. And I had predicted that El Divino Espinosa was going to be the aggressor on that fight, was going to take the fight to Robeisy Ramirez and was going to pummel Robeisy Ramirez into submission. I actually predicted this was going to be a stoppage fight. And guess what, guys? It sure was. It was more than a stoppage, all right? It was a lot more than a stoppage. It was a no mas from El Tren, from the train, Robeisy Ramirez. And we're going to talk a little bit today about what is required in order to become a champion. Is quitting okay in today's society? It's quitting okay in today's boxing sport? Is quitting and turning your back on your opponent, is that not a problem anymore? Can people defend a fighter from just quitting whenever he wants and live to fight another day like Robeisy Ramirez did? First, let's see what happened during this fight. There's a little bit of a controversy there with some people saying that El Divino Espinosa, the champion of the world, WBO champion of the world, I believe is 126, 130, used his elbows consistently to fend off the attack of Robeisy Ramirez. When I saw the fight, I did see one elbow. I'm pretty sure this was not intentional. And but Robeisy's camp, Robeisy's fan base, and others are saying the opposite. They're saying Robeisy was illegally struck by consistent elbows from Rafael El Divino Espinosa, and that's the reason why Robeisy Ramirez quit and turned his back and gave up once that straight cross hit him in the eye that was already bruised and was feeling the effects of the elbows from Divino Espinosa. What do you guys think of that statement, that assertion from the Ramirez camp? And if there's something that I really hate, I really hate boxers with excuses, guys. And I think the champion of excuses, some of the champions of excuses are some great fighters. You see some great fighters out there. They're great champions, they're legendary champions, and they beat the best, but they can't accept a defeat. Julio Cesar Chavez's of the world, every time he got the wrong decision, he came up with all kinds of excuses. And it's funny how he calls Puerto Ricans to be trash talkers and shit talkers, according to himself. But the honest truth is he's one of the most crybabies in the sport of boxing. Every time he lost, he came up with excuses. He's the excuse king. Him, Pitbull Cruz, Canelo Alvarez, and some of these other fighters, you admire their skills, you admire their heart, but once they lose, they come up with all kinds of excuses, and I hate that kind of a fighter. And Robeisy Ramirez is practically, with his excuses after the fight, I put him on that same list. the boxers with all types of excuses list. All right, they're on my list. And I hate when a fighter does that. And at the same time, I admire a fighter that actually says, you know what, I lost fair and square, like Subriel Matias did after his fight against Lee Amparo, like Alexi Arguello did after losing against Aaron Pryor, like some of these other great champions have done after losing, like Wilfredo Gomez did after losing against Salvador Sanchez. He talked a lot of crap before the fight, but he sure did apologize to the people in Puerto Rico and accepted the defeat. And he said that, he felt bad for letting his people down. But Robeisy Ramirez immediately started, using excuses. And that's something that we will discuss today. Is it okay for a fighter to quit? Has today's society become so weak that now quitting for a boxer is okay? And I saw a lot of comments out there regarding Robeisy Ramirez. Some fans saying, keep your head held up high, Robeisy. We're with you. Get well. Don't worry, get well. It doesn't matter whether you quit. You did it because you're taking care of your health, and the fans are not gonna care if you actually if you get your eye damaged because of boxing. Guys, this is boxing. This is boxing, all right? If you're not willing to give your life inside the ring, get the hell out. Do something else. Choose a safe sport. Boxing is not a safe sport. It is not. Who told you boxing was supposed to be a safe sport? It's one guy trying to beat another guy into submission. And you got the ref protecting the fighter, and you have the corner protecting you. But when a boxer quits, either on his stool or mid-fight, like Robeisy Ramirez did, that is a no-no. The reason why I say this is because we have seen fighters fight with broken orbital bones, broken noses, open, eyebrows, bleeding, like there's no tomorrow. Look at Tim Tszyu and his fight against Fundora. Look at, for example, Amanda Serrano with her fight against Dirty Katie Taylor, who consistently used her head to open cuts and bruises on Amanda's face. Did Amanda quit? Did Tim Tszyu quit? Did Terrible Morales quit? Did some of these other great fighters, legends, quit when things got rough inside the ring? When they got broken jaws, when they got their hands broken, when they had orbital bones broken, when they had huge gashes in their face, cuts in their face, in their eyebrows, in their eyelids, lips hanging down from Salcero Escalera when he fought Alexi Arguello. Kept on going with his lip hanging by a thread. They had to stop that fight. He didn't quit. Especially when you are looking for a championship. You're fighting for a championship. I'm telling you, guys, this is not what boxing is all about. If boxing has come to the point like some of these other sports have become so weak, like football now, like basketball, like some of these other sports that are trying to make them, less tough, less violent, protect the athletes a little bit more. That's not what entertainment is. Boxers are the modern day gladiators, guys. Modern day gladiators. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Get out of the kitchen. Get out of boxing. Go play chess. Go play checkers. Find another sport. You know, whatever other sport there is that is not physical, is not violent. If you're complaining and you're a boxer and you're complaining about how hard boxing is, just get out of it. And I know a lot of boxers that have all the great skills, but they lack heart. And that's what Robeisy Ramirez showed on his fight. He lacked heart. He lacked the cojones. He lacked the heart. You see, Mexican fighters don't quit. When have you seen a Mexican fighter quit? Hardly ever. When have you seen a Puerto Rican fighter quit? Hardly ever. But maybe, you know, his mentality now that he's comfortable here in the States, making all kinds of money, he's not hungry anymore. And that's what happens with some of these fighters. They lose that hunger. They lose that pride in themselves. They lose that killer instinct. I'm going to tell you something, guys. If you don't know the story of boxing, do the research. Read books, because I've read a lot of books about boxing. I've read books about the history of boxing. I read books about the greats of boxing. Do you know which was the longest fight in the history of boxing? All right? It was a 75-round bare-knuckle fight. John L. Sullivan, the first heavyweight champion of the world. Bare-knuckle. 75 rounds. More than fucking 2 hours. Guys, we become weak. We become a weak society. Men have become weak wussies. They don't have that pride in themselves. They don't have that drive, that courage to give it all inside the ring. Once things get hard, get heated, they quit. And that's a no-no in boxing, guys. That's a no-no in boxing. And I'm going to tell you right now, Robeisy Ramirez has lost thousands of fans because of this. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to be excusing him because those are fanatics. Those are not people that really know the sport of boxing. But I don't care if I love a fighter. I'm going to call it like I see it. You see, Mexican fans don't allow their fighters to quit. The Mexican culture is full of that warrior mentality. The Mexican culture, if you quit in a fight, if you turn your back on your opponent and you quit, forget it. You got to move out of Mexico. If you do the same in Puerto Rico, you got to move out. You know, I remember when I used to box in PR, I used to spar, at either Don Kang's gym, the trainer for Alexi Arguello, or at the Malta Corona gym in Santurce, where Wilfredo Gomez used to train. If my coach, El Cano Rodriguez, would tell me, hey, Zurdo, you're going to spar. Just imagine if I would have said, no, my hand hurts. Oh, no, man, this hurts, that hurts. I can't today. I don't feel well. Shit, man. Everybody in that gym would have looked at me like I was, I don't know what. Like a punk. I would have to be, I would have to move out of there. I wouldn't be able to train in that gym anymore. They would make fun of me. And that's a culture, that's a fighting culture, that's a warrior culture. I don't know how it is now in Cuba, guys. But what Robeisy Ramirez did, that's not warrior culture right there. Maybe that's just him. Because I know a lot of Cuban fighters that would never quit. But unfortunately, this new breed of fighters that are coming out are looking for the easy way out. Look at Canelo Alvarez. He is Mexican, but he doesn't want to fight the best. Does that show courage? Does that show pride in yourself? Does that show that you actually want to be the best? No, not really. Not really. So, what do you guys think? Did Robeisy Ramirez quit? Did Robeisy Ramirez Should Robeisy Ramirez have continued to fight? Wait till the end of that round. Have people work on his eye. I don't know the extent of that injury. But if you look at other injuries in the history of boxing, that was nothing. That was nothing. Muhammad Ali fought Ken Norton with a broken jaw. Got his jaw broken at the beginning of the fight. These were 15-round fights. That is exactly my point. I'm not saying that he didn't get hurt. I'm saying that he chose a sport where you're going to get hurt, where you're going to be tested, where you're going to go through all these fire like Teddy Atlas says. You got to go through the fire. And fighters don't want to go through the fire nowadays. Things get too hot, they bail out. I seriously think that Robeisy Ramirez is not going to be coming back and trying to fight another fight with Espinosa. Espinosa's got his number, and I actually told some people in my gym that were picking Robeisy to win. I told them, no, guys. Espinosa has Robeisy Ramirez's number. He's going to go for him from the get-go, and he's going to stop him. Why? Because Robeisy Ramirez quit in his last fight in the last round. He took a knee. He took a knee because he was getting hit too much. He said, well, let me take a knee. He gave up his title right there. He could have stayed up for a few more seconds and maybe even won that fight, because that was a really close fight. I think it was Fight of the Year or something like that. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Am I, a prehistoric type of dinosaur thinking that boxing should be, what it used to be, warriors fighting till death? Especially when you're putting a title on the line. You want to go out on your shield. Not saying that fighters should die in the ring. I'm saying that you should give it 100%. Did Robeisy Ramirez give it 100%? He was getting pummeled. You could see the body language in his face. Smiling like, oh shit, I'm getting my ass kicked. He quit. He quit. That's what you call a fighter that quit. What do you call a fighter that quits? A quitter. Can he come back? Can he redeem himself? Maybe he can. But yeah, he's got to change that attitude, guys. But anyway, to all you Robeisy Ramirez fans, sorry. I got to call it like I see it. There's nothing worse than a boxer turning his back on his opponent, scared, not wanting to continue. That is the worst image. That is not the definition of a warrior. Listen, guys, there's a lot of sports out there that you can choose. And I tell that to my kids all the time. To my fighters all the time. There's a lot of sports out there. And I can see guys that have all the talent in the world, but they don't have the heart. And I tell them, no, you know what? This sport is not for you, man. It's not for you. You gotta be crazy. You gotta love that challenge. And you're gonna be tested in this sport. Sooner or later, you're gonna be tested. That's the thing in boxing. You can breeze through 20 fights and win all kinds of championships. And he has done that in the amateurs, where they protect you with only 3 rounds. He won 2 gold medals. Easy for him. I'm just being sarcastic. But you can't compare amateurs to the pros, guys. The pros is the real deal. That's where you get buku cash. You get buku cash because the promoters want to entertain people. And how do they entertain people? By physical fights. by fights that have a lot of bloodshed, a lot of, blood and guts, that have a lot of, drama, back and forth. People love that. And fighters love that. Fighters love a real good war. They do. The real fighters, the real warriors. And once they hang out the gloves, they can look back and say, damn, man, I was a real warrior. I never quit. I went forward. Even if I got knocked out, even if I got knocked down, even if I lost, I kept on going. So we're living in a weak society nowadays. Men are not the same type of men that we had maybe 30, 40 years ago. Men have become weak. The military has become weak. It's this new philosophy, this new mentality of weakness that's infecting everything. It's infecting the sports. It's infecting politics. It's infecting our military. It's infecting our kids. It wasn't like that when I was young. The strong used to survive back in the day. So we are the descendants of the strongest people on earth. Because back in the day, they had none of that, type of medications that we have now, the technology we have now. All the things that we have now, people used to just survive. The strong people would survive, and the weak would die. Wouldn't make it. And now it's the opposite. Now it's the opposite. You can ask a lot of people out there, man, they have never had a fight in their lives, which boggles my mind. Because I grew up fighting ever since I can remember. That was the culture. That was the culture. And you have men right now, I've asked that, have you ever had a fight? No, never had a fight in my life. You're 40 years old and never had a fight in your life? I know how things are not right now, but back in my days, man, it was different. We were raised tougher, that's for sure. But anyway, guys, I want to get your take on this fight. Robeisy Ramirez versus Espinosa. What's going to happen to Robeisy moving forward? Who knows? Is he going to get a backlash from boxing analysts? Is he going to be, excused somehow by some of these new fans of the sport? By quitting? Is quitting now acceptable in your eyes? Anyway, guys, remember, like, share, subscribe, comment below, and let me know what you all think. But until next time, this is Coach Mario, owner, head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy, saying, hasta la vista. God bless you all, and peace.